career path, professional organizing, as well as the president for the National Association of Professional Organizers.
Good job.
She is the aunt of twins. And
You're now
one of the
a
most
virgin.
amazing gifts
A
I've
virgin.
ever heard
Madonna.
giving was a professional organizer to her niece.
Good for you for coming when you're pregnant.
So that was a really
I do too. I have that CD.
So I will let
How
her
are
get
you?
started and finish.
Thanks. My niece Leanne lives in Denver, Longmont, Colorado, and her twins were preemies. And so Mom and the twins were pretty much in the hospital for about 2 months. Leanne also has a 2-year-old at home. So by the time the babies get home, and the 2-year-old and the husband, the house was like, well, you can imagine. And so I'm thinking, I've got to help. I've got to do something. What do I do? And I'm thinking, I'm going to get them. I'll get them a $100 Amazon gift card. And I'm thinking, that's what they need is more stuff. And then I said, Leanne, can I gift you 4 hours with an organizer? And she's just like, so I'm very connected to organizer land in the country and parts of the world. And so I looked up some organizers in Colorado. I chose 3, and I gave her the link, their websites, and she chose one of the 3, and they had it was a great session. So thanks for this. So I called Leanne. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to families of multiples. Do you have any tips? She goes, get an organizer. So anyway, so it's nice to be here with you, and happy 2015. I think 2015 is going to be keen. My name is Regina Lark, and as you heard, my company is called A Clear Path, Professional Organizing for Home, Work, and Life. And I started this business 6.5 years ago. Prior to being an organizer, I had spent many years earning my PhD in history, and I was on the professional job market, the academic job market, and in 2008, in June of 2008, 2 things happened. I had a job as a director at UCLA Extension, and it could have been a very creative, wonderful, entrepreneurial position, but professionally, it just wasn't a good fit for Regina. There were many elephants in the living room, and I always named them, and sometimes that's not good in a corporate setting. So I had been looking for other jobs for about 6 months prior to June '08. And in June '08, I went on vacation, and I went to Jerusalem, and I have a good friend who lives in the Armenian quarter of the old city. And she lived in a 3rd-story apartment, and I was visiting, and I'm doing my touring, I'm doing a lot of stuff. And one day I didn't want to tour, so I called Nadra up at work. And I said, Nadra, I don't want to tour today. How would you like me to do your kitchen? And she says, Habibti, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I don't really know either, but I think you have things in your kitchen that you may not need. Who am I? So I went into the old city. I don't speak Arabic or Hebrew, and so I had to pantomime empty boxes to all the shop owners, and I brought all these boxes. I filled the living room with all these empty boxes, and then I filled the boxes with stuff from the kitchen. And so Nadra comes home from work, hard day, and she sees pretty much the contents of her kitchen in the living room in boxes. It was all contained. You would like contain your stuff. And she says, Habibti, what did you do? And I said, well, let's just have a conversation about this. And we talked about why I had made some of my decisions, and she agreed with 85% of my decisions. That was fun. It was fun. I'd never done it. I was kind of born this way. I have 6 members of my family. 4 are like me, and 2 of us need us. So I kind of come by this from birth. I was raised with a father that said, ABC, always be cleaning. And one of my sisters did not get that message, and neither did my mom. Anyway, so I come back from my trip in Jerusalem, and I'm back at the job for about a week, and I get a call from the dean's office. And I call my roommate. I said, I think I'm getting fired today. And I went up to the room, and there was the dean and the head of HR and my supervisor. And I said, okay, you know, whatever you got to do, let's do it. And I was downsized. The recession had just started, I think, that day. And I was downsized, my unit was dismantled, my position eliminated, and it wasn't a good fit for me anyway. So I danced out of the room, and I went home, and all the jobs that I had been applying for started drying up. All the funding, like, okay, no worries, I'm smart, I got a PhD, got the highest degree in the land. And I wasn't quite sure what to do. And about 2.5 months into my layoff, I told my roommate, look, I'm going to start organizing for a little while until something better comes along. And my roommate, we're both academics, she says, great, I'll build you a website. Neither of us know anything about any of that. And I'm like, well, let's see how other people have a website. And so we looked up organizers in the zip code. The first person to come up was Catherine Macy. And Catherine is known to my roommate in a completely different capacity. Call Catherine up. She says, well, you know, my roommate is thinking about doing this. Catherine says, great. There's more stuff out there that needs to be cleared than those of us with the gift who can do it. Catherine invites me over to her house. We have dinner. She tells me everything, what it means to be a professional organizer. She takes me on my first job. She hires me as an assistant. And I was assigned to the boys' bathroom. And you know what I'm talking about.
I have 4 brothers. I know exactly.
Right? It was just this big stinky mess. And it had 2 big mirrors and 2 sinks and a big bathroom, and you know, all right, I'm just gonna do this if this was home. And so I did my thing and I pulled it together, and one of the defining features about this bathroom, there's a seat right over here. One of the defining features about the bathroom were the boys' sports buttons. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're 3 inches big across, and it's all there. And there were dozens of these buttons. And I'm thinking, A, why do they have so many buttons? B, why do parents buy so many buttons? And C, why are they keeping all these buttons? Clearly, they love the buttons, and the buttons weren't going anywhere. So I have all these buttons, I don't know what to do. And I go into the garage and I find some rope, and I take the rope and I braided the rope and I draped the rope over the 2 bathroom mirrors, and then I stuck all the buttons in the rope. I determined that one of the boys was going to have the sink on the left, and all of his faces were up there, and one of the boys was going to have the sink on the right, and I put his buttons on that. Day is done. Mom comes to the bathroom door, and she looks at my handiwork, and I will never get this image out of my head. She's standing against the door jamb, and she puts her hand up to her face. Tears are forming. And she said, you made art out of the buttons. And I thought, and so I did. Well, and I think the next thought was, and they're paying me for this? And a clear path was launched. And I took myself off all the job boards, and I've been in business successfully now for 6.5 years. I'm growing a queendom out there. It's an amazing thing that I get to do on a regular basis. And along the way, several things happened. I think because I have a love for education, I took advantage of all the education that's available to somebody like me. So I've become a certified professional organizer through the National Association of Professional Organizers. And then I took certifications. I earned certifications in working with people with various brain-based conditions, ADHD, hoarding disorder, and then what we call in organizer land, chronic disorganization. And chronic disorganization is just what it sounds like. I describe it as somebody that was born with a brain type that they've just never been able to feel like they could get their act together. That clutter or not getting anywhere on time or being disorganized, that this has always been kind of a facet of life. And so I have created a business around helping people who are chronically disorganized on a variety of levels. And I've got a team of ninjas that we go in and we lift the footprint of clutter. I've created a phone coaching program to help change habits and behaviors, your relationship to your space. A lot of people have clutter because of a number of reasons. One, they don't know what the hell to do with it once it comes through the front door. Two, they are not spatially oriented, and so they're not able to see where stuff should go. People have clutter because they don't know how to say no, because they're bringing everything through their front door. They're not really asking questions about it. They just say thank you. I work with a lot of academics. Now I tell people my PhD stands for higher, higher, and deeper. And so I work with a lot of academics, and I go into office after office, and their floors are filled with conference bags. And the conference bags are just filled with crap. You said it, I didn't. And because it could have use and value. And so I hear over and over again, but they give you all these things when you go to conference. I'm like, no, you take it home. You're taking it home. So often we're not really thinking about what's coming through our front door. So that's how I got here. And now what I'd like to do is go around the room, and I want to hear from you. Usually, people who attend workshops on decluttering, they are often there for a particular reason. So, and if you're just here because you like going to talks on decluttering, that's great too. So what I'd like to do is give me a sound bite. Why was this of interest to you? And I'm going to back up a second. What I'm not going to do is give you quick tips and strategies on how to deal with this, because I don't believe in that. Because if it was easy, none of us would be sitting here. I would be, teaching history somewhere, and it's not easy. And I get really frustrated watching. Here it is January, and every single women's magazine, the Today Show, probably Channel 7, Good Morning America, everybody's talking about decluttering. And I'm hearing 3 easy ways to tackle your closet, 5 tips on dealing with your, and it's like, if this was easy, we wouldn't be sitting here. And for some reason, every January, we get this message, we got to get organized. But what does that mean, really? These are all rhetorical questions. So, enough about me. Your name and what the hell are you doing?
My name is Rosalind, and I have 3 children, twins and a 15-month-old. Twins are 3 years old. And I'm trying to figure out how to use my space in a way where I can keep the rotation kind of going of clothes and stuff as they outgrow it.
Nice.
As they grow, I feel like I'm always having stuff that they don't use, and I kind of don't know how to create a system.
Okay, good. Very tangible. Go ahead.
I'm Suzanne, and I'm here with my daughter, essentially, but I have a quick question that you may or may not, it doesn't apply to probably most of these people. I have 3 grown children out in the house, and each of their rooms is filled with their
I give them to February 1st.
Tell them,
Just get it the hell out. Unless they want to pay for storage, which I think that's a good option.
They probably would.
Because otherwise they would have to pay storage.
I'll pass it on.
Yeah.
Mine is similar to Rosalind's. Same. I've got
What's your
3
first name?
Oh, sorry. My name is Allison. I've got, opposite of you. I have a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, and then 1-year-old twins. And I have, she has a ton of clothes coming in and out, and toys, and organization for that. Just in general.
Okay.
My name is Jim. I'm going to probably steal the reason. We have 3-year-old triplets, and so we have lots of things going in. We just keep
I'm hearing lots of things coming in. I'm not hearing lots of things going out. Okay.
I need somebody to.
So I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to use quotes all the way down the page. Go ahead, please.
I'm Julia. We're expecting twins in April, and just trying to help my husband get rid of his items.
Got it.
His magazines, his VHS his DVDs and CDs. Like VHS, we don't even have a VHS player anymore.
It doesn't matter.
It's like old shows, I might need them for this. No, I don't get this.
Here, here's just one tip. Here's just one tip.
In my mind.
I have to give you a tip. If you're living with somebody who seems to have very strong relationships with their things, very attached to their things, and to another brain type, you may say, but we don't have a VHS player. One tip here is suspend all logic. You can't go to the logical left side of your brain to work with this idea of clutter. Because there's no doubt in my mind that if your partner could see it through your eyes, you wouldn't have VHS tapes there. But he's not able to do that. He's just not able to do that. But I can help you help him do that. Okay, go ahead. No logic.
And I brought my girlfriend Grace because she has all of her 8 or 9-year-old kids' things.
Go ahead, Grace, what you got?
Okay, Amazing Grace. I have 9-year-old twin daughters. I am a professional chronic porter. I'm married to another porter, and we're adopted twin porters.
And you're still forming complete sentences. Now, why do you call this hoarding? Because that's a very strong word, and it's mental illness.
Because I took it out from your introduction, everything you described, everything. And I thought I was coming to an AA meeting.
Just don't drink, right?
Well, main thing is
You have a lot of stuff.
there's no. Well, I let everything come through the front door,
Okay.
and
No exit strategy.
no exit strategy. I don't know where to put that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's probably no place to put it.
And I've hired professional organizers before.
Plural.
Yeah, plural.
Got it.
And it lasts for 3 days, but it didn't work for me because they created their system.
Right. Right. It's got to, if you're gonna ever, whoever's gonna help you in, whether it be a really good friend or an organizer, and what you want is kindness, objectivity, and you want to, when we do work with our clients, it's really how you think. Are you left-handed or right-handed? I went to a networking meeting and this guy said, oh, I worked with an organizer, she was just fantastic, she made me a beautiful file system. And I don't know what made me ask him, but I said, do you use the file system? He goes, oh, no, it's all wrong for me, but it's beautiful. And I got the papers. And so yes, it was probably done to how they think about it, but the other part, and this is another reason why I hear a lot, people will say, I got it all done. We spent 2 days on the garage, we could park both cars in it. 6 months later, we can't park our car in it. And it's often because the very habits, behaviors, and relationships that you have to your environment, that didn't change. What changed was the interior of the space. You let go of a lot of things. But what didn't happen is the very mechanisms that got you into those things, that got those things there. So whenever anybody calls us to help them with their clutter, I spend quite a bit of time on the phone, and one of my leading questions is, we can help you do this. The ninjas can be there and your garage will be done in a day. But we need to have a conversation about how you intend to and plan to maintain it. Because I don't want my clients throwing good money after a really, really bad habit. And that's what's happening. So if you've experienced this, I've done it, my junk drawers are now clean and then they become junk drawers, and I'm thinking, if it's junk, why are you putting it in a drawer? But you do. But it's because it's that very same habit that just comes back. So I feel your pain. Next.
Well, I mentioned I think I organized myself into disorganization by
What is your first name again?
Christy.
Christy.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm very aesthetic organizer. I like to get a bunch of beautiful containers, fill them all up. That's all wonderful. But then I don't think I have an exit strategy, like you said. And I do think it rang true a bit of it might be useful later.
Oh, I got great things
So,
about that.
After it outgrows the beautiful containers, then it goes into the garage or the storage space
Mhm.
where it might be useful later. And then new things do come into the beautifully organized section. So I kind of have that part worked out, but not the next thing.
Okay, so since you brought it up, and I'm sure that, does anybody here have you have stuff in your space that you may need someday? And you actually say, I can't let this go. I may need it someday, right?
Including the wedding dress.
Right. And I always tell women who are saving their wedding dress, and your daughter may be a butch dyke who doesn't want to wear a dress. What are you going to do?
30 years of fashion.
You never know. So I'm just saying, we have all of these, and is your daughter born?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have hold on to dresses for the daughter that hasn't even been conceived yet, but okay. So here's the thing about I may need it someday. It's a visual. Okay, stop. Here I am in the present. This is now, right? Out here is the future, and it's what I may need someday. What I may need someday is I need it for someday, and I have to say, if you have a calendar, you have never seen someday on your calendar. Ever. You never will. I'm going to invent the calendar that twice a month someday is going to magically appear. And I'm going to work with a client, we're going to turn the page, like, look, it's Sunday, let's let it go. Okay. So you have this thing out here, I may need it someday. And to me, if I'm holding on to something I may need someday, I would feel like if and when someday happens, and I haven't put a name, date, time, place, or scenario that would have to emerge for this to come into use. So there's a lot of criteria on someday, right? The event or the scene has to emerge, and it's got to be, I have to be able to find it, the someday piece. But if I don't have it and someday happens and I don't have it, we think something not good is going to happen. If someday comes and we don't have it, something not good will happen. That's got to be one of the biggest reasons why we hold on to it.
Have to get in the car and go buy
It's going to be
another
such
one.
a hassle.
Such a hassle.
Moving it for 20 years, of course, is not a hassle.
Not at all.
But that moment, okay, so not having it, if someday comes, not having it, something that, it's almost as if we fear that moment of not having it for someday. So there's a fear of the future. Can you see that analogy? Then we got our hand back here. Now we got Sunday's here. And now we got our hand back here. And what do you suppose is back here?
Memories.
My son made this in third grade. Or, well, those were my grandmother's dishes.
Oh.
And I always say, everybody had dishes. I don't know. So we've got our hand back here and we're holding on to that which held our heart at some point. From yearbooks to greeting cards to, I don't know, look under your bed. It's all there. To boxes of stuff. It's stuff that held our heart. And it actually probably held our heart for a very short period of time. It could have been that moment we opened up the greeting card and we saw the Hallmark greeting, and look at how Mary sent me this. And we put it away. So we have our hand out here holding on to someday, fear of the future, and we have our hand back here holding on to that which has already happened. And if it goes away, what if we don't remember that we had a happy moment back then? There's fear. There's more fear. And what I'm seeing happen are people are allowing the fear of the future and the fear of letting go of the past trump your ability to stay comfortable now. And I'm not clear why that is, but I think it's a lot of reasons. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
So when you're looking to see what you can let go of, think of it in more ethereal, esoteric terms, right? If you've got an item in your hand, you say, I may need this someday. Ask like 3 or 4 more questions of it, so you're not dragging it around for 10 or 15 years. Take that time, 3 or 4 more questions. What does someday have to look like? Is this item so irreplaceable or so expensive that I cannot possibly, in a million years, get another one? Or can I borrow from my neighbor? Or is it under $10 that I can go to Target? You know, whatever it is, but ask those questions. Do I have something I can substitute for it? I laugh. I tell people my needs are always met because I'm really, really flexible about the ways they can be met. There's often not just one single way for my needs to be met. There's like a variety of reasons. I love these readers from CVS, but if I stepped on them, it's not going to send me to a panic because there's, 2 pair in my car and, 3 pair at home. But I can have my needs met in a variety of ways. And so when you have that someday thing, think if you can meet that need of having it in other ways. And if you come back to, after you ask the questions, what's the scenario that's going to have to emerge? Can I substitute, borrow? Is it so expensive? Once you ask those questions, it's like, someday is going to happen in 5 years because I know whatever is going to happen. I can't even imagine. Anyway, but some people can. So something's going to happen in 5 years, I know, or it is too expensive. We paid a lot of money for it, thinking that the retail price you pay on everything is worth it. It's not. And it certainly doesn't cost the same as it did the moment it comes out of the store. But if you come back to yes, 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 then great, keep it. You've created a litmus test for yourself of what gets to have the right to live in your place. If anything's going to live in my apartment, it has to have earned the right. It's got to feed me intellectually, it's got to feed me aesthetically, or it's got to feed my tummy. It just has to meet one of those needs, or it doesn't get a right to live there. Okay, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry.
Your name, please, and what the hell are you doing?
Oh, okay. I'm Jennifer, and I am here because over the years I have put a lot of effort into organizing and decluttering and so forth. And pre-parenting, it was somewhat manageable. As a parent of twins, and some of us have more than 2 children, I'm sure, it's like I don't have the mental energy to stay on top of it. It's not that I am not capable of doing it, it's that the decisions that have to be made to keep or let something go,
Right.
I do not have the
Yeah,
mental energy.
I get
for.
that.
So,
Yeah, thanks for
things
making it
just-
so succinct. That was
yeah.
very good. Thanks.
It just gets a little out of control.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna noodle on that for a moment. Go ahead.
Hillary, so we have twin girls. And I say I think the maintenance seems to be okay. When you walk in our house, it appears to be fairly organized. But then we have our little dark closets in the back room.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I went to a house yesterday and she goes, and this is my room of shame.
One thing in particular I keep doing is, to stay on top of the day-to-day from work and kids and everything else, it's okay to do it. But then when I try and tackle the big projects, I do this thing, I've been doing it for a year, where I will take everything out of the bags and I stay out of my closet room and put it on my bed and I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna finish it. And then I start on it and I do like half an hour and I'm exhausted and then I put it back. So I keep doing this thing weekends, or do the same thing, like I have to
You
work
do
on
it half hour because why?
because I've run out of time, I'm tired.
Okay,
or,
okay.
And then so I just keep I keep taking things in and out of bags.
Okay.
And like I'll sometimes organize like a portion of it, but even if I have like 3-4 hours.